Throttle. If that's what you were looking for, you're in the right place. I'm happy to see you, as I am every day. Here we talk every day at noon, Monday through Friday. We talk about movies, we talk about fun stuff, we talk about issues. I was so excited. Last night I got to be on Mediocre Films with my friend Greg Benson. We did a Twitch cast, as it were. Very exciting, very funny. We talked about some funny things, we talked about some dumb things, and we talked about some very serious issues. Because it's really important that we do all of those things in a safe place, with friends, with friendly friends and family. Thank you guys for joining me. Today we're talking about movie precedents. What's your favorite movie precedent? Some of them are good, some of them are dumb, some of them are hilarious. Like the movie precedent in, I think Bob Odenkirk played the president in that movie with Seth Rogen. That was pretty funny. It's Wednesday, guys. Wednesday. We're either halfway through a week or halfway through a pandemic. There's no way of telling. Do you guys still work? Do you still go to a day job? Are you still doing that before times deal where you go to a day job and you actually work on something? 9 to 5? Or you just do your work whenever you feel like it, like I do? You know, I don't think everybody's productive at the same hours of day, 9 to 5. I don't think that's a fair way to give people work. You must do work between 9 and 5. But what if you're inspired at 9 p.m.? What if you want to work till 4 in the morning on something? That is the life of an artist. An artist, I tell you. I mean, I guess this is, I don't know. I would like to consider this an art form, but it's really not. It's just me talking. I've got a lot of art projects I'd like to do, like to work on. Hey, I've got a viewer on Twitch. What's up over there on Twitch? Nice to see you. I've got all the chat rooms open. I've got a Discord as well. If you guys want to hop over to my Discord server, I'll pop that in the chat. If you want to follow me on Discord, I've got a Discord link. If you want to DM me, I'll give you that link too. But I put that link up on Twitch. You guys remember when you saw Morgan Freeman in the movie Deep Impact? Did that leave a deep impact on you? Did that set the precedent to have a black president like we did 10 years later with Barack Obama? Maybe. It was like, oh hey, Morgan Freeman's gonna be in this movie, he's gonna play the president, and there's gonna be no, it just don't matter. Oh look, Stream Elements is now streaming live, stream Elements, that's fun. Guys. We're just waiting for everybody to trickle in, start chatting. I've got the Discord server open. Hey Kelsey on Discord. We'll wait till everybody starts streaming and we'll just start to we'll dance to these little bits of music that I created on my laptop with my guitar years ago. Should get back to that. I've got all new songs I've been working on. That's the thing. You could take the musician off the road, but you can't take the music out of the soup, I think as they say. Hey mom. I forget how there's all these sayings you grow up with. You know, some of the sayings that we just believe that they're real because they rhyme, or like they sound poetic, or they sound symmetrical, like they say, jack of all trades, master of none. That's not true. You could be a master of more than one trade. They call that a polymath. There's actually a word for it. If there wasn't people that did it, they wouldn't be called there wouldn't be a word for it. If you're a polymath, that means you're an expert in more than one field. That's a thing. I mean, I'm not making that up. I'm not making up language words. Here, I'm adjusting all my cameras and stuff and whatnot. You can be here for it. That's fine. I hope my computer doesn't fall off the desk. That would be hilarious, though. So today we're talking about movie precedents. Kevin Kline played a president. He played Dave. He played a guy who looked like the president and became the president's double. And then, I think, who directed that movie, Dave? Ivan Reitman? Dave. Might be Robert Zemeckis. I don't know. Why do I think it's Robert Zemeckis? Ivan Reitman. Nope. Yes. Ivan Reitman produced it. and it starred. These are things that are very. He also directed it. Morgan Freeman was the president in Deep Impact, directed by Mimi Leder. Mimi Leder, she directed that movie, Deep Impact. You know, it was funny, in the 90s we had a lot of disaster movies, and they all came out in rapid succession. And as soon as one came out, there was another one that had to top it. But it would be like, there's a volcano movie called Dante's Peak, and then Volcano would come out 3 months later, and it was like, here's another movie about a volcano. And then there would be a movie about, let's say, an asteroid coming to destroy the Earth called Armageddon. And at the same time, another movie called Deep Impact would come out, because people were like, what is in the cultural zeitgeist that's really scaring people that we can make a movie on? Hey, Veronica. Hey, Veronica, tell Andy and yourself, I got a Discord server now. You guys can jump over onto the Discord server. We could create some Discord over there, if you know what I mean. I'll share that on one of these platforms. I've got so many platforms open. Maybe we can contain the chat over on Discord. But, hey guys, what's up there on YouTube? Midnight Shawarma Llama. Discord link, please. Here you go. You're going to get the Discord link right coming at you super fast, like super slick, super fly, like Jimmy Superfly Snooker from the 80s. Sharknado was the best disaster movie. You know, Sharknado was all right. Sharknado, they make like 17 Sharknado movies. That's cool. I'll watch like maybe 5 minutes of each one. I can't get enough Ian Ziering. People are like, where's Tara Reid and Ian Ziering? Where have they been all this time? And then they show up in the movies and they're like, oh yeah, I remember why we forgot about them. Listen, I'm not being mean. I'm just being rude. Stream elements. I'm going to teach my stream elements to tell everybody about the Discord link so that y'all can hop over here. Oh, there's another Discord link. That's funny. I don't know how this works. Yeah, hop onto Chonk E Cheese. That's pretty good. I like that name. So, movie presidents. I brought up this topic today because I thought it was important that we remember what it's like to have a president. Because right now we got a Cheeto, cartoon Cheeto in the White House. And I don't know if you consider this guy presidential at all, but the United States used to have a tradition of leadership and a figurehead who basically embodied culturally the ideals of what an American is. Usually 99% of the time, I mean, what's 45 times 2? That's 90. And then you've only got one. So it's like literally 2% of the time it's only been half black. The presidency, I mean. So it's crazy. It's kind of crazy. Almost 2% of the time we've had a half black president. That's the only other time. But what I'm saying is, America started, obviously, with a bunch of white dudes sitting around tables thinking about stuff, while other people tended to their farms and stuff, respectively, depending on which founding father you're talking about. And those other people, you know, doing some free labor while other people could free up their time. Because I've been watching Hamilton way too many times. I don't know what happens. It happens. It's like one of those things where you stare at the TV and then all of a sudden these weird waves come out at the TV and they make your eyes turn into spirals and you're like, now I must watch Hamilton. Now I am a zombie for Hamilton. You laugh at me now. You're like, Hamilton, come on. Psh. And then you're like, you're falling for that Hamilton crap. Psh. And then you just got to be like, you're going to turn on Hamilton. You can be like, what is this Hamilton crap? Psh. And then you're going to be like, this Hamilton stuff is kind of cool. Psh. I don't like Hamilton. What was I thinking? I don't know what I was doing. I must have been drinking. That's what you're going to do. You're going to turn on Hamilton 5 minutes later. You're going to be talking and singing like just like that. I promise you. That's what happens. You got to teach them to say goodbye. But they really do a good job in that, showing the first president, George Washington, isn't that? And George Washington portrayed in such in a way that was like idealized, obviously, by making him non-white. I'm just kidding. He's an idealized version of George Washington, and the ideals and the fundamental. It makes you really inspired as to what America can be. The ideas are there. The ideas have always been there, but the execution has been poor. I heard something the other day that was like, those who are worthy of power are never the ones who seek it. Isn't that freaking crazy? It's very true. Those who are worthy of wielding power are never the ones who seek power. It's usually the people who suck and are narcissistic, malignant narcissists like that. Yeah. Veronica's like, no politics. Yeah. The funny thing is, Veronica, you're mentioning some people, they don't want to hear politics on this show. But look at this thing right here. You guys see this? This is called a microphone, and I have it. It's in front of me. You get your own. Get your own soapbox. This used to come in the shape of a soapbox hundreds of years ago, and now it looks like this. Imagine trying to drop the mic 200 years ago. You'd have to pick up a soapbox and then drop it and smash it. It was probably way more dramatical. It was probably way more, I'm just saying, it had a lot more theatricality to it, I'm sure. Dropping a mic, there's a lot of power in going like that. But imagine picking up an entire crate over your head and just smashing it. That's all I had to say about that. How many soapboxes did you go through today? 40. But those who seek power are rarely, if ever, the ones... those who are worthy of wielding power are rarely, if ever, the ones who seek it. It's true, though, right? Am I right? Am I right, Chonk E-Cheese over there on Discord? I see you. Yeah, like a boombox. Yeah, that was the 80s. They didn't have microphones. They just had John Cusack with a boombox hanging over his head. Guys, I want to welcome my new followers on Twitch. I'm so excited. Last night I was a guest on Mediocre Films with Greg Benson, and it was so fun. We talked about some fun stuff. We talked about some serious stuff. And we also talked about, like, ukuleles and Led Zeppelins with 2 Ds and an Invisible 7. That was fun. You guys had fun. I met a lot of fun, friendly friends of his. Some of his friends, some of our mutual friends tuned in. Hey, Angie, thank you for tuning in to Twitch last night. That was fun to see you there. And also, Jake A., I saw you there. Colleen, hey, everybody's coming. We're starting the party now. We're getting started. Welcome, everybody. Who is your favorite movie president? Were you surprised by Morgan Freeman being the president in Mimi Leader's Deep Impact, starring Elijah Wood in 1990-something? Were you surprised by that? Did you like it? Did it just seem natural? But then, I like how Morgan Freeman's successive roles were like, I'm going to drive Miss Daisy around. And then I'm going to go ahead and free Andy from the Shawshank. And then I'm going to be president, and then I'm going to be God. He just went straight from cab driver to God with a few stops along the way. It's pretty funny. Condyland liked when I got kicked out of Sunday school. Condyland is mentioning this story I told last night about how I got kicked out of Sunday school. My mom's also watching. She remembers this. I was very young. I was about 6 or 7, and I was in Sunday school, and they were like, hey, then Jesus, then this thing, and then that happened, and then God, and then there was this flaming bush, and all of a sudden the skies opened up, and then the sea turned and the red, and I'm like, this doesn't, I don't ever remember physics working this way. Excuse me, Miss Johnson. I remember it was Miss Johnson. Excuse me, Miss Johnson. How come if God does this, then why? I had logical questions for her. And then she would just, she had her big Sunday hat on, and she was very she was very upset with me, I could tell. Miss Johnson is a very delicate lady, I imagine. She doesn't want to be confronted with a 7-year-old's questions. It's too much for Miss Johnson on Sunday. She just wants to read from her Jesus book to the kids, and have the kids just go like this. Yes, Miss Johnson. But I do. Hey, Mom, was it Miss Johnson that told you that? Well, we don't think Ari wants to be here. I guess I couldn't have made it known more obvious that I didn't want to be at Sunday school. So I had to attend full mass every Sunday at Episcopal St. Mark's in Islip. I had to attend full mass, and apparently I would fall asleep and snore. So that was, I guess I didn't want to be there either. She told your parents that she didn't think you were happy in Sunday school. Okay, that's a different characterization. That's a better framing of. I don't want to demonize Miss Johnson. She seemed like a nice lady. She just seemed like she just didn't want to be bothered. Yeah. She had a big, nice Sunday hat. Yeah, but Miss Johnson. It was Miss Johnson, though. I have a pretty good memory for that. Well, I think we had 2 Sunday school teachers. I don't remember the other. But, yeah, they were bewildered. Yeah, I just didn't want to be there. I couldn't rebel. Yeah, Angie. You got to rebel against that. So then I went on to become a rock and roll star. Because that's what you do when you rebel. Am I right, David Bowie? David Bowie is here in spirit always. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm very excited to talk to you every day at noon. On all the platforms, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook Live, all of the things. We can do this now. We can talk to as many people, but I have a Discord server, so if you guys want to hop in and sort of centralize the chat, and you can all talk to each other, make friends with each other, and all go to Sunday school together and hold hands with your big hats, you guys can go over to my Discord server. It's in the chat. I think across all platforms, so you guys can click on that. If you don't have Discord, it's just kind of like a chat room. Remember AOL? Remember America Online? What's your AIM name? ASL, please. That's what it is. Yes, the Goblin King is no longer with us. I'm going to pour some coffee out for my Goblin King, David Bowie. You're referencing, obviously, Labyrinth. One of my favorite shots in the movie Labyrinth is when the Goblin King throws the baby in the air, and the baby comes down, like, upside down. Like, you can clearly see he catches the doll that he flings in the air. You can clearly see him catch it upside down. And then in the next shot, it's just a jump cut. The baby's, like, right side up again. But I just like that David Bowie had just completely zero regard. Just catching the baby. David Bowie, interestingly enough, has played several historical figures and hysterical figures. He played, in the movie The Prestige, David Bowie played none other than Nikola Tesla, which this all ties in, guys. I don't know if you remember a show called Connections. I used to watch the show called Connections when I was a kid on Discovery Channel, and they would like make all these weird historical connections, and this is what I'll do for you today. David Bowie played Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla did a lot of his experiments on Long Island in a town called Rocky Point. For a while, he got commissioned before he was in Colorado for a while. In the movie The Prestige, David Bowie plays Nikola Tesla while he was in his residency in Colorado doing all these crazy electrical experiments. But he did a lot of experiments on the beach in Rocky Point, and that's where my parents live, on Long Island. There's a Nikola Tesla museum there. And right up the hill, over there, right over my shoulder, at the Griffith Observatory, there's a Tesla coil that you can watch them turn on every 45 minutes. It's just like they push a button, and then this whole room fills with a dazzling display of electrical bolts of electricity, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You ever see a Tesla coil? It's neat. I've got 20 followers on Twitch, which is many times the number of followers I had yesterday. So y'all rock. Thank you for following me. I can't wait to have Greg as a guest on this show. Once it gets rolling, once we get people coming into the room, it'll be fun. Next month, we're planning on doing a Bad Movies Live. So we're going to watch a movie together, and we're going to make fun of it. And it's going to be fun. Because that's what making fun is. You make it. you guys are home bored, if you're not working, if you're out of work like me, normally I'm a photographer, normally I work on set, sometimes I get cast in things. And, there's nothing going on in Hollywood. So if you're bored at home alone, you gotta make fun. That's what I say. So who is your favorite movie president? Is it Biff Tannen, the current president of the United States? Biff Tannen? This is the natural trajectory for Biff Tannen, isn't it? The world we're living in. Back to the Future was right about everything. Bill Pullman. Oh, that's a good one. Bill Pullman played the president in ID4, otherwise known as Independence Day. Directed by my favorite, directed to hate, not Rennie Harlan, I also hate him, but Roland Emmerich directed Independence Day. And Independence Day, it's just fun. It's just a dumb, fun movie. It does all the things that right, except it's kind of dumb. But the funny thing about that movie is that Bill Pullman plays the president, and he's like, I'm your president. I'm a little bit drunk all the time, but I used to be a fighter pilot. I'm pilot. I fly. I'm gonna fly a plane. Which was the drunk guy? Was it the president? I'm gonna fly a plane and shoot aliens, because that's how much of a hero I am. When your president is Harrison Ford or Bill Pullman, they are ready to physically fight the bad guy. I would love to see Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in a cage match. However, I think they would end up filleting each other. Shy, welcome. Thank you for joining us. That's speech on Independence Day. It's not only Independence Day for the United States, but it's also Independence Day for the Spaceballs. Where's Barf? I like Spaceballs. I like Bill Pullman. I feel like Bill Pullman is in 3 movies ever. Spaceballs, Independence Day, and Singles. The movie Singles. He plays the doctor, the plastic surgeon. Those are the only movies I remember Bill Pullman in. But he's great. Thank you guys for joining me. The Discord server, if you all want to keep the discussion going at the end of the hour, is in the chats. And Angie, Shy, Killeen, everybody, welcome. You guys are all beautiful. Thank you. I was like, didn't Bowie play Tesla? Yes. David Bowie. Oh, not only did David Bowie play the historical figure of Tesla, he also played Andy Warhol in the movie Basquiat, which is cool. I'll have you know this. If my friend is watching, from a couple of my friends, they went to this high school in Washington, D.C. And I say this with somewhat like with a little bit of a scoff. But they went to this high school called St. Albans. Speaking of Episcopalian, see, I was Episcopal when I grew up too. That was the Sunday school I got kicked out of. They went to this school called St. Albans in Washington, D.C. Have you seen the movie Dead Poet Society? That's the high school they went to. And basically, so did Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright played Basquiat in the movie Basquiat. And my buddy Oliver, who went to this high school, likes to remind me every time Jeffrey Wright shows up. He's like, Jeffrey Wright, he went to my high school. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Do you want to tell me again how Jeffrey Wright went to your high school? No. Jeffrey Wright is a great actor. He's one of the better actors we have right now. One of my favorite moments that Jeffrey Wright had was in the show Westworld, which I still cannot get past the first season. I watched the first season, it's pretty good, but the first season when Jeffrey Wright was like, I don't see anything unusual, I thought that was awesome. If you know what I'm talking about, if you remember that scene from season 1, you'll be like, oh yeah, that was pretty dope. Doesn't look strange to me. Yeah, I liked that. The Zero Effect. Was that Ben Stiller? Zero Effect. That's right. Zero Effect was... Maybe today, yeah. Maybe today is Bill Pullman Day. Well, not only is today A day to remember for American history. It's a day for Bill Pullman history. I'm pilot. I can fly. Yeah. How about that? Today is Bill Pullman Day, everybody. Let it be known. Heretofore, July 8th, 2020, when nothing matters. Nothing matters except for Bill Pullman today. Not if it gets jammed. Not if we jam it. That's it. Raspberry. I hate the raspberry. Nobody gives me the raspberry. So good. Do you guys like Spaceballs? My friend David, my mutual friend with Greg. Greg and I have a friend named David Hussey. He's a performer as well. He's a talented guy. And he and I share so much affection for certain movies, like Steven Spielberg movies. We just love them unabashedly because there's just something pure about those movies. Pure Hollywood, pure adventure, pure fun. Usually make you feel good when you leave the theater. And that's what we like. We like those kinds of things. We like good music. We like good movies. And David, however, doesn't like the movie Spaceballs. Lone Star. Well, you got the bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps. I wish I was Michael Winslow. This show would be way more entertaining. How does he do that? How does he sound like a computer? It's impossible. But David doesn't like the movie Spaceballs, and I don't know why. I don't get it. Rocky 5000. There's so many jokes in Spaceballs. Every moment of Spaceballs is a joke. Randy Quaid was drunk. Yeah, Randy Quaid is funny. Funny guy. Randy Quaid has since escaped to Canada to evade being brought up on charges for tax evasion. Yeah, I guess they couldn't bring Randy Quaid back because not only is Randy Quaid in Canada, and not only did Randy Quaid die in the first movie, spoiler alert, that's why they probably couldn't bring Randy Quaid back for the sequel, and they made Bill Pullman that fill that role. Mel Brooks, yeah, I admonished and I believe the word is castigate. Is that a word? Let me look up that word. I want to make sure I use words correctly. Because I don't want to be... I castigated David. I was like, you don't like Spaceballs, David, but you like good movies. How come you don't like Spaceballs? He's just like, I don't know. I just don't like it. And I'm like, David, we're gonna have to have a talk about this. We're gonna have to get you to watch Spaceballs like 10 million more times until you like it. Because it's so good. We ain't found anything. I like that movie so much. How many assholes do I have on this ship? Yo! There are so many bits in Spaceballs. The president of space is played by Mel Brooks. That's actually a joke in improv. You learn that when you read your improv books, because obviously there's books written on improv because, you know, UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade, where you can go train to become an improv comedian or joker. They have books because they're the only accredited improv training school. So it's right up the street. I've taken several classes. It's actually very fun to do because it's stupid. You just like, let me be stupid for 3 hours with a bunch of people in a room with no windows. Let's see what happens. And basically it's this. This is what happens. But there's a book that they wrote on UCB, and then they basically say there's beats to comedy. So the first is just the idea, and then it's maybe a funny idea, but then the second time you revisit that idea, but you raise the stakes for that idea. And when you raise the stakes, sometimes people just raise the stakes to the top of the stakes. You can't get any higher. So they call that becoming the president of space. So suddenly you're like, I am captain of the volleyball team. And then the next scene you're like, I am a general in the army, and then you're like, I am the president of space. So, thank you for joining Aristotle Full Throttle every day at noon here. I'm the president of space. And we're talking about presidents today in movies. I brought it all the way back around again. Catch me if you can. So you guys, let's all be the president of space. You know, the current president isn't really leading too well, so we got to look to these movie figures. We have to look to Bill Pullman right now. It is International Bill Pullman Day. So we need to like think about how important it is to demonstrate leadership. Not just kind of go there, say a few things off a script, and then walk out the room. Get in the fighter jet like Bill Pullman does and fight the aliens. And in this analogy, the aliens are coronavirus, and Bill Pullman is Bill Pullman, and he's in a fighter jet fighting the coronavirus in a fighter jet. Why can't we just have Bill Pullman run for president? He can get out there every day, give us that speech, and we'll all come together and we'll be like, hey, thank you, Mr. Pullman. We needed that. We needed that. When's Spaceball 2 coming out? Spaceballs was supposed to have a sequel. They joked about it in the first movie, Spaceballs, where they were like, that's the sequel, Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. And they made a joke about that, Mel Brooks did. Actually, they were gonna make a Spaceballs sequel. Mel Brooks has a whole script for it. It's like the perfect time because Disney kind of blew up and ruined the Star Wars the sequel trilogy after they acquired the Star Wars IP. After they acquired Lucasfilm, they were like, let's just run this thing into the ground. So I think it would be a great time for Mel Brooks, who is 94 years old or something like that, to come out with the sequel finally and make fun of the whole idea of this acquiring. You know, there's so many more jokes that can be written about that, but Mel Brooks is a genius. But originally the title for Spaceballs 2 was going to be Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money, but Mel Brooks' script tentatively titled the sequel to Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2. The Search for More Money. I think that would have been an amazing title for that. Yes, Midnight Shawarma Llama. We talked about this a few weeks ago about comedy sequels and how comedy sequels tend to suck. However, I will put this to you. I present to you 22 Jump Street. I think that comedy sequel is probably the best comedy sequel. 22 Jump Street. It raises all the stakes. We talked about raising the stakes. We talked about second beats and third beats, about comedy. It raises all of the stakes, makes fun of itself the whole time, and is incredibly stupid. And they legitimately almost become the president of space in 22 Jump Street. They're like jumping out of exploding helicopters. It is the dumbest sequel ever, and I love it to death. Comedy sequels do tend to suck. That's true. Because the joke is spent. You spent the joke the first time around. Usually within that format in the first movie, you've gone through all of the iterations of that joke. So to do a sequel, it's just more of the same. By nature, by just the nature of comedy. Even Anchorman 2 is like, it's still kind of funny, but it's still the same joke. Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness are great comedy sequels, but that's very rare. Yes, Evil Dead 2 is my favorite horror movie of all time. And Evil Dead 2, I saw at the perfect age. I was maybe like 9 years old, and it was the middle of the night, and I was watching it at like a sleepover. It was like we were watching it, and we were scared, but we were also laughing. So we were laughing as hard as we were scared throughout the entire Evil Dead 2 movie. It was just such a fun experience that I have not experienced since seeing Evil Dead 2. I guess you gotta be 9, and you've gotta be legitimately scared and laughing at the same time. Yeah, Jillian Bell's great. Popcorn Passport, thank you for joining us. I got a question for you. Yesterday, you left us with the story. I know you presented us with some imagery in the Discord, but I want to hear your story about meeting The Rock, because that seems like a fun thing, because The Rock should just run for president, if you ask me. The Rock, we should just like dub someone the cultural ambassador of America, and The Rock should be the cultural ambassador of America, and he should just go out there and give out, like, he and Bill Pullman should just go on tour talking about America. Talking about how dope America, the idea of America is. Twice, yes. Popcorn Passport met The Rock twice. I was catching up on some of these comments in the Discord. That's pretty rad. That's 2 more times than I've met The Rock. 2 more times. You know, it's funny. I don't think I'm the only one who's got a radio show or a video stream going on every day. My neighbor, I hear them shouting about politics every night. And I think they're just screaming into their microphone about Nazism and stuff. It's crazy. He was at the movie opening for the Jumanji remake. Ooh, I still want to watch I have both Jumanjis ready to watch. Tyrone Square in Florida. Was The Rock nice? Because I mentioned this last night on the live stream on Twitch when I was on Mediocre Films. If you guys are watching, thank you for coming over from Mediocre Films. Thank you for watching last night. I appreciate the participation in the discussion that we had last night. And it was fun. It was a good time. We talked about, obviously, modern things that are going on in the world. Next time I come back to Mediocre Films, we're going to do a Bad Movies Live. We're going to pick a really bad movie, watch it, and make fun of it, and turn it into something maybe more entertaining than it was intended to be. Hopefully. Some of these movies, you know, I wonder how they just go ahead with it. Like, they have meeting after meeting after meeting with some of these movies. And they're like, yeah, this seems like great. Why don't we spend millions of dollars on this? And why don't we try to, you know, and then it ends up being some of these movies are just terrible. Wear a mask. Harry Connick Jr. died because he took off his mask. Yeah, that's true. What? Harry Connick Jr. died. What do you mean by killing? I need absolute silence. I need absolute silence. We haven't figured out which movie we're going to watch yet. I think that might take some discussion, maybe some voting. Maybe if you guys pick it. How about you guys pick the movie that we watch? Some suggestions of a really terrible movie that you want to watch that suggest that we should watch. And then you could all watch it with us, and then we could all make fun of it. Not Harry Connick Jr. And then you met him in Oahu on Hickam Air Force Base. Wow, that's cool. So, Popcorn Passport, when you met The Rock, now this is a very serious question, because I've always wondered this. Could you smell what The Rock was cooking? And did it smell good? Did it involve curry? Say, I don't know. I cook with curry a lot. It's delicious. When I picture The Rock cooking, I just picture like a glowing red hot rock with Kangaroo Jack. Ooh, Kangaroo Jack. Maybe we'll watch Kangaroo Jack. Smell like French toast, Popcorn Passport says. It's good. That sounds delightful. I would like to meet The Rock. If he screams in my face, if you smell with The Rock, he's cooking. I'd be like, I do, Mr. Johnson, and it smells like French toast. It smells delicious and delightful. You were born on a Marine base in Oahu, K-Griff? That's cool. So you're Hawaiian. You were born in a Marine base in Oahu. Did you meet The Rock? Oh, you were born in the hospital. Okay, good. Yeah, you don't want to be born outside the hospital. I mean, maybe. Someone was saying they were playing a video game where they actually witnessed a live birth inside the video game. Video games are getting crazy these days, kids. I tell you, why Why are you gonna have like is it like a birthing simulator? Seems weird. Yeah, K Griff. If you were born in Hawaii, we gotta see your birth certificate. Just like Donald Trump said for 8 years while Obama was president. Yeah, I tell you. We're not talking about Trump too much today. Because we're talking about movie presidents, not cartoon presidents. Oh, snap! Bringing it back to presidents. Always. You know what? So many different presidents. Let's like type this in. Movie presidents. Remember when Paul Giamatti played John Adams? Remember when Anthony Hopkins played John Quincy Adams? John Adams' son? John Quincy Adams being like the 6th president? John Adams being the 2nd president? I don't know how I know this. I don't even know if I'm right. You guys might have to fact check me on that. But, does Morgan Freeman play the president again in the Olympus Has Fallen movies? Because I'm looking at this poster and it shows Jerry Butler and Morgan Freeman's in there. We can count Christian Bale as one of the presidents because he played Dick Cheney, and we all know Dick Cheney was actually the president. Because if Morgan Freeman should just play the president always. Because I think he's got one of those things. Oh, here's a good one. Lincoln. You guys see Lincoln? I saw Lincoln on a Thanksgiving. Lincoln, of course, famously played by Daniel Day-Lewis, the greatest actor in human history, according to him. No, I mean, I'm kidding. He's really good. Although, you know who's a lot. There's hang on a second. What was that movie? I tell you, Meryl Streep I do like much better than any other actor. Pretty much. But Viola Davis is also... I was watching this thing with Viola Davis, right? And it's so true. This happens a lot with actors. With people in our society anyway. Viola Davis was like, I have had an Oscar or Tony. She's almost like an EGOT, right? She's got so many awards. Yet when she still gets on the phone with producers, they're like, you're like a black Meryl Streep. And it's just like, why can't I be Viola Davis? Why can't I be awesome Viola Davis? I've got to be a black Meryl Streep. See, it's kind of a weird way of thinking, but that's how we think a lot of times in America. It's kind of sad. Just we got to recognize that Viola Davis is dope. The Rock is dope. Do people say The Rock is like a half Samoan, half black Arnold Schwarzenegger? No, you just like The Rock is The Rock. I mean, he's transcended identity politics. I think, I hope. But it's kind of sad when Viola Davis is called a black Meryl Streep. It's like, well, come on now. Uh-oh. Did you bring up The Fifth Element with Tiny Lister, a.k.a. Zeus? I'm Tiny Lister. I'm going to try to do my impression of Tiny Lister, but I have to do this first. I'm not making fun of his strabismus, because it's none of my strabismus, but it's very widely known that Tiny Lister looks like this. He's bald. Remember Zeus from the 80s and the 90s? Zeus, big guy, big muscular wrestler from the WW. Back then it was WWF. But Zeus, man, I hate the movie The Fifth Element, though, K. Griff. You brought it up because you just wanted to see my blood boil. I don't like that movie. And Tiny Lister was like this in the movie. I'm the president of space. He's literally the president of space in that one, too. Come on, now. It's Tiny Lister. We all love him. I like that his name is Tiny because it's ironic. The guy's like 6'7". You know who else is a crazy future president from the future? Terry Crews. Terry Crews is on the hot seat right now. Don Lemon is grilling that guy. But Terry Crews, also a gigantic muscular dude, plays President Camacho in Idiocracy. And we are not far from that. If you've seen the movie Idiocracy, it was made by a dude named Mike Judge. Mike Judge created Beavis and Butthead. He also did Office Space, which is a legendary movie. So fun to watch. It just captures the mundanity of working in an office, and then also the dreams we have of breaking free from that type of life. He also did a movie called Idiocracy, which took... Have you guys seen that, Idiocracy? You guys have seen it. And it takes, like, basically modern society one step further. It makes fun of the fact that people who are generally college educated and more inclined to be life planners and smart about their life don't end up having kids. And then a bunch of folks who kind of run wild and have as many kids as possible, so they don't get their kids educated and whatnot. And a couple hundred years down the line, it turns out everybody in society is incredibly stupid. And we're here. We've achieved Idiocracy very quickly, within a decade or so of that prediction. Yeah. I love the joke. Luke Wilson plays the most average human being. That's the point of the movie, is Luke Wilson becomes the smartest man in the world because he's like frozen in ice for 200 years. And in the future, everybody's stupid. The president is played by Terry Crews, who's just this gigantic muscle, like former wrestler who shoots guns and rides a chariot all along on the ground of the Capitol when he's doing his State of the Union address. It is amazing. But he's no tiny lister. President Camacho is kind of amazing, but then when they thaw Luke Wilson out in the future, he was the most average human being today, but then turns out he's the smartest guy in the world in the future. And here's a good joke by George Carlin. He says, people are stupid. They're so stupid. There's so many stupid people. They're everywhere. We can also see this with the coronavirus, with people not wearing a mask. A mask is a simple concept. And what I've learned throughout this coronavirus is it takes a long time for people to grasp a simple concept. So George Carlin back in the day had a joke that so many stupid people surround us. Just picture the dumbest person, not the dumbest person, sorry. Just picture the most average person in your mind, the most average intelligent person in every way in your mind. Picture that person. Half of all people are dumber than them. It's kind of a shocking revelation, but it's true, because that's literally what average means. Morgan Freeman is Jack Nicholson in Mars Attacks. Jack Nicholson as the president in Mars Attacks. Oh, that's a good one. Jack Nicholson, man, he's got such a funny demeanor about him. He's always... he's kind of just... If you were to meet Jack Nicholson in real life, you'd be like, this dude is creepy. But when you watch him on screen, you're like, this guy is creepy, but he's also compelling. But if in real life you met him, you'd be like, I would like to get away from this dude. He seems very creepy. In the movie, you're like, I'm glad that this guy doesn't exist in real life. But in real life, you would be like, I'm so sad that this guy exists in real life. Because Jack Nicholson is he's just a weird guy. And it's funny because he's got such an affect and demeanor about him. Like Christian Slater, when he first started, he was more like a snack Nicholson. He was like a decaffeinated Jack Nicholson when he first came out, when he first arrived on the scene. Christian Slater, because he don't talk like that. If you ever meet someone who talks like that, you might think they're quite affected. I once met a newscaster in real life that I'd watched pretty much every day. I'd go home for lunch when I was working at this one job years ago. I'd go home for lunch and I'd watch The View, And then I would watch the 12 noon news in New York. And at 12 noon, there was a guy on the news, and he talked like this. He would say in other news, today in Manhattan, this is what happened. And he would talk like, it was very clear. He was projecting. You could understand what he was saying. I actually met that dude at a barbecue one time because my friend's cousin was dating him, and he was at the barbecue, and I got to talking to him, and he talked like this. He said, "Hello, I'm from the new," and you were like, "Wow." On TV it seems to work, but in real life it's weird. Get away from me, man. No, he was nice, but he just had a really weird affect about him. Nicholson also played a dirtbag casino owner in that movie, so basically Trump. Yeah, well, I was saying, right now we're living in the Tannen presidency, the Biff Tannen presidency. We need Marty to go back in time. They should remake Back to the Future 2. Doc comes back. This is the premise for Back to the Future 4, guys. We still got Michael J. Fox. We still have Christopher Lloyd. We need to make this movie. Doc's like, "Marty, you've got to come back with me. We got to go back to the 80s. And we've got to take that $100 million loan away from one Donald Trump," or whatever loan he got from his father. A small $10 million loan to start it. Failing enterprises, one failing enterprise after another. And then Marty and Doc Brown go back in time and just start slapping. And it's like 2 hours of just them slapping Donald Trump. Psh, psh. Just taking turns slapping him. Just like, but not enough to like hurt him. Not enough to give him like a nosebleed. Just like a little. And he's just like, "Ow." And there's, "Ow. Ow." Hey, Karen. Tilt, welcome. I was just talking about slapping Donald Trump around. Hey, Lori, 3040. I hope it's nice to see you. Thank you guys for joining me. You guys are... I'm the president of space. Tiny Lister from the Fifth Element. I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see both of you. I'm happy to see all three of you. Wait, there's just one of you? Sorry, I'm kidding. I'm making fun of a guy's strabismus. And that is what we call high comedy. Top dollar comedy. That's the kind of $413 million loan Popcorn Passport. It fills us in. Yeah, I would watch that movie. Just them like, like maybe like pulling out one of Donald Trump's hairs like one at a time. Ow! Ow! Pulling out one of his toupee hairs at a time. I don't know. Just Doc and Marty. I'd watch that. Yeah. Seems good. Bulworth. Yes, I do remember Bulworth, K. Griff. Bulworth was Warren Beatty wrote and directed that. I learned a good lesson from Warren Beatty after he was talking about how he wrote and directed that. And he said, Lori 3040, could we give him a shoulder shake? Yes. We're just going back to, yeah, Lori 3040. It's basically the scene from the movie Airplane where everybody's lining up, and Airplane 2, the sequel, where they just line up to beat up someone who's kind of they're losing their cool. They're kind of going crazy, and then they just all line up and smack them around. That movie just you watch that movie differently these days. I watch Airplane now, and I'm like, wow, there are so many jokes that you just can't get away with today. That bit has a bit of misogynistic tone to it in the first Airplane movie, where they're just slapping the lady because she's hysterical, as it were. Slapping the woman for being hysterical, because that was the Cure. It wasn't the Cure 100 years ago. They did something else. John Travolta, Primary Colors. That's also, yeah, Primary Colors. John Travolta played a facsimile of Bill Clinton in that. But the thing I learned from Warren Beatty from the movie Bulworth and how he wrote it is that writing is about 5 to 15 minutes of inspiration in the morning. It's just the same old saying: 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration, 200% alcohol proof. I guess, I don't know. That might be, I just might have added that last part. But yeah, you come up with the idea, and then you've got to spend the rest of the day working the idea out. So don't try to get all the ideas at once. Don't try to do all that. I also learned that from watching Lin-Manuel Miranda. I was watching some videos of him when he was writing Hamilton. And he would just go everywhere, just writing everything down all the time, just writing every idea and then working them out, ironing them out. It took him 6 or 7 years to write Hamilton. Yeah, Blazing Saddles would never have been made. But there's something to be said about movies that come out in the time that they are and how they reflect that period. And it's good to go back and watch and say, oh, society has changed, hasn't it? Society has become more aware of certain things that it wasn't before and considers some other things. I haven't seen The Fanatic. Is that Midnight Shawarma Yama? Is John Travolta's role in The Fanatic, is that the one where he looks like a crazed fan, or he's like a shaved head or something? Is it like Swim Fan at all? Was that Swim Fan, the sequel? Oh, yeah. Surprised that nobody's cast Gary Busey. King Griff says there's nobody cast Gary Busey as president. He's played. I play Buddy Holly. How about I play? I'm Gary Busey. I have an idea. Why don't I play Buddy Holly as the president? He survived the plane crash, okay? I come walking out of the rubble of the plane crash. Me, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper. All three of us. We run for president, vice president, and Secretary of State. The Big Bopper, Secretary of State. You know what that stands for, state? Super talented against the enemy. State. I'm Gary Busey. That's what he would do. Gary Busey. President Gary Busey. Mr. Joshua himself. Yeah, you know who's running for president? Kanye. He's running on the birthday party. It's called the birthday party. Get it? You know what I think he should run for? His VP should be 2 Chainz, and they should sing the birthday song. That should be their campaign song. And if you don't know the birthday song, it is a fantastic, beautiful musical piece by 2 Chainz featuring Kanye West, where the lyrics are as follows. All I want for my birthday is a big booty hoe. All I want for my birthday is a big booty hoe. That is the birthday song. And if they are running together, Kanye West and 2 Chainz, as president and vice president, that should be their campaign song. On the birthday party. All I want for my birthday is a big booty hoe. Gary Busey has a couple of exploit episodes of Practical Jokes and quite funny. Yeah, I'm telling you, that would be cool. Who wants to see that? Kanye, 2 Chainz, president and vice president. Do you remember that movie, Head of State? How can you forget Head of State? Bernie Mac, what are your thoughts on NATO? I don't know no NATO. What? NATO? Yeah, I don't know no NATO Jones. NATO Jones? Oh, I received 100 messages on Restream chat. I just got a thing unleashed. You guys remember that? NATO Jones? I owe NATO Jones some money. Remember the late, great Bernie Mac? Good golly, that guy was funny. Bernie Mac. Damn, gone too soon. Would have been a great head of the cabinet. But Head of State was also, that might be my favorite movie president. Oh, Black Bush. Right. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good, yeah, when Dave Chappelle played Black Bush. Or when he played Dean Cain. Dean Cain is in the news also. We got 14 seconds left on Instagram. If you want to continue the conversation, you guys on Instagram, you can jump over to Twitch. Find me at twitch.tv/Aristotle Full Throttle. Or go to AristotleFullThrottle.com. Otherwise, see you tomorrow. Yeah, we got rid of the Instagram folks, people. They only let you an hour on Instagram, so that usually runs out before the show runs out. Yeah, it's really funny. Bernie Mac saved that movie, says K. Ferg. I don't know no NATO. I say that all the time in my head whenever they bring up NATO. Whenever they bring up the North American Treaty Organization, Trade Association, whatever, I always go, I don't know no NATO. What a funny guy. Good golly, how did he die again? It was just hypertension. He seemed like he was always ready to pop. Very funny guy. Give it to old people, Social Security. Yeah. Let's see, head of state. What's up with like Chris Rock being one of the most genius comedians, but like his acting, I feel like his acting falls short. He's gotten better. I think he's done some like Broadway stuff and he's tried to work on his acting, but even in Lethal Weapon 4, yeah, Chris Rock is in Lethal Weapon 4. He's just kind of doing his stand-up in the movie. All of the Lethal Weapon movies are pretty good, except they just kind of put the camera on Chris Rock and he's like, did you ever see somebody, people in my state, blah, blah. I forget what he says in that, but he's like, what is my neighbor? He didn't invent teeth. Chris Rock hands. Tiny Lister eyes. Sorry. Imagine Chris Rock and Tiny Lister had a kid. I am the president of space. That would be hilarious. His acting peak was New Jack City. Yeah, that's true. I think his acting peak might have been Nat X. Y'all remember Nat X? Yeah, he's like kind of a one-trick pony. I feel like Chris Rock is just one of those guys you wait to see his 1 hour of like beautifully curated jokes, and he gets into it. He gets into it pretty funny. He gets into it pretty well. There's some comedians that they need a minute to bake their new ideas. You don't want to be half baked like Dave Chappelle's last special, which was really good, but it wasn't super funny. We were talking about that last night on Mediocre Films with Greg Benson. We were talking about, someone asked what we thought of Dave Chappelle's latest comedy special. And of course, Greg Benson comes from a comedy background. His wife, Kim, is also a comedian. So they obviously are up on comedians. And, I felt the same way. I felt very similar, but I think it was important that Dave Chappelle, at least Dave Chappelle thought like he had a platform to come up with his ideas, to express his feelings and his ideas and help try to address the issue. But I don't know, Dave Chappelle's getting to a point where he's like a little bit like, I'm just going to talk and you're just going to listen instead of maybe writing out some comedy, like actual jokes. But this is a weird time. So it was 8 minutes, 47 seconds, I think it's called. It's on Netflix. Welcome to the tubes, everybody. Yeah, you too. Make the jump. Take the leap of faith. Sooner or later, we're all going to be on Twitch. We're all going to find our way. I look at this as the beginnings of us going inside the computer. I'm basically Max Headroom right now. Like in 100 years, if this data still exists on the server somewhere, I just exist as Max Headroom to somebody. I have joined the computer just like Johnny Depp did in that Singularity movie. That was directed by the cinematographer of The Dark Knight. Not Christopher Nolan. But what was that movie called? With Johnny Depp? Johnny Depp. I could just crowdsource. Transcendence, that's it. Which was marketed a lot using the name Christopher Nolan. They were like, Christopher Nolan has something to do with this movie. Maybe. But it was not directed or anything by Christopher Nolan. There was a dude, Wally Pfister, directed it. And Wally Pfister is a cinematographer. And he was the cinematographer for Inception. So they were like, when they came out with the movie Transcendence, they were like, Johnny Depp, in Transcend from Christopher Nolan, cinematographer, comes Transcendence. Now, cinematographers are just as important as a director. I will argue that. Cinematographer is super important because they're telling the story in pictures. They are really doing a good job at telling a story in pictures. If you have a really good cinematographer like Roger Deakins in Blade Runner 2049, they're going to tell you that you can turn the sound off to that movie and know everything that's going on because the story is so illustrated and well on screen. Even like a movie, Inception's a little bit more difficult because there's a lot of rules setting up. They're like, you need to go to sleep, and then once you go to sleep, it's like 4 minutes equals 1 hour in the dream state, but then you got to get out of the state. You got to get kicked into a tub, but not really get kicked into a tub, maybe just shaken awake, maybe. And if you're thinking of something, and if you're peeing your pants, then it's raining inside your dream, and then if it's raining inside your dream, then you know you can go inside a dream inside your dream, but once you're inside your dream, you don't know you're in a dream unless there's an anchor, and if you see that the anchor is there, you got to spin your top, and if the top falls over, you know you... There's a lot of rules in Inception. But not so much in Transcendence. I heard it sucked. I haven't seen it. Angie says, my mom and I saw Transcendence and was just disappointed in the story, but the cinematography, chef's kiss. Yeah, there's some people that I know who are talented directors and cinematographers. I actually know Bradford May. Bradford May is a fabulous human being, very, very loving, very energetic human being. And I've worked on at least 16 movies with this guy. He's a director. And he is also a cinematographer. And you might know him if you Google Bradford May. He was the cinematographer for the movie The Monster Squad in the 80s. He was also the cinematographer and director for Darkman's 2 and 3. Cinematographer and director for Darkman's 2 or 3. Shy, you know Bradford. Shy knows Bradford. You must know Bradford. This guy, B. May, I have a hat. Maybe I'll wear it one of these shows. It says B. May on the hat because his name's Bradford May, and he's a very loud individual. And he hands out these hats once you've worked on at least 5 movies with him. So I got that hat, and then he gives you stars for every movie. So I have a hat with like stars all across the brim. I don't know. I have it on display somewhere. It's one of my most prized possessions. I've earned so many stripes on Bradford May movies. Yeah, the idea of Transcendence is great. The idea of it. But this is basically Transcendence. We're in that movie now, and it's just as good. I'm Max Headroom. Thank you for joining me. At some point, I'm the Joker. Guys, you know this. K-Ferg, you might know this. Popcorn Passport. Angie, you might know these comic book references because it's from DC. Remember when the Joker just became like a computer program for a while, and he was inside the computer? It might have been Batman, or the Joker, but he was like a computer virus for a run. That was a pretty good run. Was it the Joker? I liked that Baby Yoda sleeping.
Hello, everybody. I was just taking a little nappy wappy. I'm sorry. Let me put my glasses on. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. I'm here to remind you, everyone out there, wear your mask. All right? You know, wear your mask outside. Do I even have to ask? Wear your mask. You know, I was taking a sleep over here on Dagobah in a mud puddle because I was eating some lizards and snakes for breakfast. It's delicious. If you ever tried my soup, I don't even know. I'm like 50 years old and I'm a baby still. I've been pooping in diapers for 50 years. It's crazy. I mean, that's a lot of upkeep, a lot of diapers. Just imagine the bill for Pampers. Just imagine that bill. It's like $15 million just on Pampers. It's crazy. Anyway, don't be an idiot. Wear your mask, damn it. wash your hands. There's only a couple things you do. If you're not wearing a mask, and if you're not staying 6 feet away from one another, at least, I can only imagine that you don't wash your hands either. You filthy animal. You are a filthy animal if you're not wearing a mask and if you're not washing your hands. I've got to go make poopy. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.
That was Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci. Who's Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci's most favorite movie president?
You know, I'm glad you asked that, K. Griff. I'm a fan of Padme Amidala myself. She was my favorite movie president. However, she was unseated. She was dethroned by one Sheev Palpatine. That bastard, I swear, if I ever see that guy, I'm gonna give him a backhanded, just a backhand right to the old Sheev. But she was unseated, and then, you know, this is how democracy dies, okay? With a thunderous applause. This is how democracy dies. If you were looking outside, if you're watching this current president right now with all of this supremacy bullshit, there's all this jargon, telling everybody, appealing to a very small, very sectional, extreme base with all of this jargon about white supremacy. Good golly. This is how democracy dies. Remember that. With thunderous applause and you not wearing your mask. Wear your damn mask, okay, please? All right. I'm going to go play with my Duplos.
The dark side. One Sheev Palpatine. Thank you, Cody Land. I've been practicing puppetry for minutes. Almost hours, probably. But Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci says it right. You know, you gotta look out for one another.
Just remember,
his glasses don't stay down. I've had to like pull a string. Here we go. We're gonna get Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci.
get my glasses on. I can't see. What are you doing? Yeah, fix this part right over here. Thank you.
I'm working on it.
Come on. I can't see. I need to see these people. They're friends. They've come to watch. I think it's my glasses don't fit. I don't know. See, if your mask doesn't fit, don't get this jackass to try to fix it. He'll ruin it.
Oh, there we go. I think Dr. Baby Yoda Fauci looks cooler with glasses down here, if he's looking over the top. You know, he's just staying on message. He just wants you to look out for one another. He wants democracy to live on forever. And the only way to do that is if you realize that your rights. When people are like, "These are my rights. I don't want to wear a mask." What they're failing to realize is that they're infringing on other people's rights. They're like, my rights are the only ones that matter. But they're not considering the fact that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, all of that stuff, you know, that includes other people. Like, they have that right too, so you should not infringe on their right to be healthy. And also, it's everyone's private. If you own a private business, you have the right to kick people out for not following the local health code. No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service. You're allowed to kick someone out if they're not wearing a shirt at 7-Eleven, so you can kick someone out if they're not wearing a mask in Costco. Like Dan. You guys all see that video of Dan at Costco? He felt threatened. Well, guys, I think we've covered it all. I think we've done a good job. Lori 3040, I'm right there with you. Masks are not a political statement. They're actually showing respect. If I'm wearing a mask, I think baby Dr. Yoda can say that.
This can best be described in the tone of Rocky at the end of Rocky IV after he defeated communism by punching it. His very famous speech, which was, "If I could change and you could change, everybody could change." You guys remember that, right? It was very inspirational. The speech after he defeated the Russian, Rocky defeated the Russian and made the collapse of communism possible through punching. Rocky said, "If I could wear a mask and you could wear a mask, then everybody can wear a mask." The point is, my wearing a mask shows respect for you. It's me showing respect for you. My mask protects you. Do you get it? It's not a political statement. I am being considerate of you. You not wearing a mask is you saying, I am not considerate. Me not wearing a mask means I am not considerate. Me wearing a mask means I consider you and your health.
It's very simple. I feel threatened, Cody. Cody knows Dan. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I think we covered it. I think we covered every president there is. Movie presidents. Hamilton. He's now a movie president. Well, he was never a president, actually. He was the Secretary of the Treasury, the first one. But in the movie Hamilton, George Washington is played by an incredible singer. You know, I don't know what happened to me, but I like Hamilton, and I will listen to it. I've been listening to the soundtrack all day. Like I said at the top of the show, Hamilton is one of those things where you're just going to be like, psh, Hamilton, I don't like it. Whatever, Hamilton. Why does everybody like Hamilton? What is this noise? You start watching Hamilton, you're going to be leaving like, I just saw Hamilton. It was so fun. I just want to go get things done. You're just going to start wanting to rap your whole day all away, and then you're going to say, hey, hey, hey. That's going to be you 5 minutes after finishing watching Hamilton. I promise. You're going to be, I saw Hamilton. It was so fun. Yeah, I swear, you're going to love Hamilton. I don't know why I'm endorsing it so much, but I just am enjoying that. This is my week. I've become a Hamill fan. It's just one of those things that's going to happen. Your eyes are going to turn into spirals, and you're going to be like, I am mesmerized by this. If you're American, you can say, you know what? I do take pride in these ideals. I do understand what we were going for, what they were going for anyway. And, they address the whole slavery thing. They addressed it a few times. They're like, yeah, by the way, slavery, it's bad. But I think what you should go away with from watching Hamilton is a story of American history told by modern Americans. It's almost as if Lin-Manuel Miranda grew up in Washington Heights, New York, which he did. And could you imagine putting on a play about the forefathers if you lived in Washington Heights, New York, or you lived in an area like that? If you put on a play about the founding fathers teaching the other kids, like an assembly at school, that's what it would look like in Washington Heights. That's what the cast would look like. So it comes as no surprise to me as someone coming from New York and thereabouts. I think my mom first taught in Washington Heights, actually. She got her first teaching job. But it comes as no surprise to me that that's what it looks like. And I know everybody's like, hey, wait a minute, Aaron Burr was a black guy? Huh? No. The idea is, if you put on a school assembly in Washington Heights in parts of America, that's what it would look like. And so Hamilton, I'm saying, is a high school musical. Part 4. Guys, if you're watching on all the platforms, I appreciate it. If you came over from watching mediocre films last night, I definitely doubly appreciate that. Thank you guys so much. You could follow me on Twitch. You can support the channel on Patreon. You could donate. You could tip. You could do all sorts of things. I'm going to create like little things like where games where we can play and hang out and have fun. And you might have to, if you press certain buttons, you might make me get up and dance. I told you, I'm like Max Headroom in here. I'm putting myself inside the computer. This is the dawn of androids. What would they call this? They would call this the lawnmower man. They would call this transcendence. We're We're joining with the computer right now. As far as you're concerned, I don't exist. I'm just on your TV or in the background or not at all. And yeah, Kevin Kline. Someone should run on the Kevin Kline in Dave platform. I think that's a good idea. Thank you for bringing your popcorns. Thank you, Popcorn Passport, for sharing your story about The Rock with us. I hope The Rock was cool. I'm glad that he's always cooking French toast, extra cinnamon. Shy says, but but if someone doesn't have empathy for others, they probably don't have it for themselves. Yeah, you know what, Shy? This is true. So what I say to that is, you can only do so much. You can only care about so much. Don't waste your empathy sometimes. Don't waste your energy. So you can educate people. But once you see someone without a mask, you could just tell them, hey, look, leave the store. Or you just avoid them entirely. That's the only thing you do. Take care of yourself. If you see someone who just clearly wishes everyone ill by not wearing a mask, you just got to take care of yourself. And if you could do that, avoid those people, stay far away from them, that's good. First rule of transcendence. Lori 3040 brings up. Yeah, the first rule of transcendence is we don't talk about transcendence. We don't talk about Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is in court right now. Taking care of his court problems. Y'all are awesome. Remember, wear a mask. Here is the Discord link again. So if you guys want to join on Discord and continue with the conversation, I welcome it. To check in, we could chat, we could share some more ideas, build up a community, build up a show, build up a vibe, build up a safe place to go to hang out and just have a good time and talk about the things we love unabashedly and not like get into it. There's no mean-spirited here. So much of the internet is just mean. You ever notice that? So much of the internet is I hate you and I hate this and I hate that and you suck this and kiss my big black stuff. MF this and MF that and kiss my big black stuff. That's from a movie called Raw. The internet is a lot of that. That's not what this is about. This is like, let's just enjoy the good things that we like. Let's enjoy the fun stuff. Let's have a good time. Let's make sure that we're looking out for ourselves and each other. Don't waste your empathy on people who don't have struggle with empathy. I have had the misfortune of being close to people who have zero empathy. Here's a warning sign. If you ever meet someone who's like, I'm an empath, I just feel so much of what other people are feeling, I think that's a bait. They're baiting you. Yeah, Greg has friendly friends. Greg is the kind of vibe. Greg's crowd is an awesome crowd, and I had so much fun hanging out with Greg's crowd last night. But if you meet people who are like, I feel like they're baiting you because they want to see if that's how you feel too, because they struggle with the concept of empathy. They struggle with the concept of empathy. They think that what they're feeling is other people's feelings, but I don't know. I question that. I would say just be wary of someone who says that, because I think they're just, if you're someone who actually does give a shit and you hear someone saying that, you're like, oh, I can relate to that. However, I don't think if you gave a crap that much, you would announce to everyone, I care so much, everybody. I'm a person who really cares about other people, and I feel other people. Yeah, I don't know about that. If you did, you just would, and you wouldn't talk about it. You would connect with people. You wouldn't have to announce that you connect with people so easily. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. You would just connect with people and say, well, hey, I see you. You wouldn't be like, I am a person who sees people. I'm Tiny Lister. I'm the president of space, and I see people. Sometimes more than once. That is a good... We're going to leave it on that, Will. That's a good point. Will says, declaring emotional hypersensitivity is indicative of self-centeredness. I agree. If you were sitting there, you want everyone to admire you if you're announcing how empathetic you are. You want people to, like, turn it on you and be like, wow, aren't you so great? People who are good at stuff don't announce that they're good at stuff. They're just good at stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was to sit here and talk about how good I was at spinning plates, you'd be like, well, then spin the plates. Let's see how good you are at this. Spin plates. I'm just like, nah, I'm just so good at spinning plates, man. If you saw me spinning plates, you'd be like, damn, that guy should join the circus. And then I don't spin plates, then you'd just be like, okay, I don't believe you. I demonstrate, show, don't tell. This is the first rule of filmmaking. Show, don't tell. Amen, everybody. So do you have a job, Chris asks. You're looking at it, Chris. You're looking at my job. I work in Hollywood. Hollywood is closed. It's closed for business. So here's the job. Here is the job. I usually do photography on set, or I'm an actor, or I used to be a musician. Used to be. You can't used to be a musician. You're just always a musician. If you've learned music, then you're a musician forever. So I used to travel as a musician. I used to do that professionally. I came to LA and I've been doing photography professionally and have shown up on TV from time to time, which is fun for me. But I also like to paint. I like long walks on the beach. I like nice romantic dinners and a Cabernet Franc. Is that enough, Chris? Are we happy yet? California is expensive. I must have, Cody Laird, you say California is expensive. I must have 8 roommates. Well, you can have 8 roommates, or you can live in a shoebox. And you are inside my shoebox with me. So I have, but I'll tell you something. What I pay for rent in this shoebox in Hollywood would probably buy me a house in Kansas. It's I probably would have been able to buy a house by now in Kansas, because Kansas is lots of land and fewer people. But I'm living in the center of LA, Hollywood, and this is where I chose to go because I love movies and I love music and I love entertainment and I love having fun and live the life you want to live. Oh, potential spam. Guys, this is going to be awesome. Here we go. This is what I've wanted. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to reach Elma Bonilla.
Elma? You're trying to reach Elma?
Yes, Elma.
Okay. I have some sad news.
Oh, really? Did they die?
No. Why would you think that?
Oh. I don't know. You said it was sad news. I just assumed. I'm sorry for assuming.
My God.
I'm sorry.
That. Why would you assume that?
I'm so sorry. I do apologize. What is the sad news, though?
She's not here right now. Can I take a message?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's super sad. Yeah, if you can please let her know that I was calling them about their health insurance that they currently have.
Oh, wait.
If there's a better time.
Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you have the same health insurance,
I
can let you know.
Well, my name's Elmo. Does that help?
I mean, kind of. No, okay. I mean, I just...
Wait, what was... Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the group plan pharmacy. This is just the pharmacy that's contracted with Elma's health insurance plan.
Oh, okay. What was your name?
That they have. Joshua Schofield.
How did you get Elma's number?
Well, we usually get the number from what's called the PPO database. Whoever has a PPO type of plan, an insurance plan, like Blue Cross Blue Shield or United Healthcare, Aetna or Cigna or any of those private insurances. That's why we usually call people, and that's where we get the numbers from. If this is a wrong number or anything, I can definitely note it down. I'm not sure if we've been calling you a few times.
This is definitely the right number.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay.
Because I'm Elma. I was.
You're Elma, and then there's Elma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're Kevin, right?
Oh, that makes sense.
Wait. Where are you calling me from?
In terms of actual location, or?
Yeah.
I'm actually located in Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. I've been there. Do you know
Yeah.
Fredericks? I
Right.
played Fredericks. It's such a cool place.
No, I don't personally know him. No, not
No,
really.
no, Fredericks is a club. You don't know Fredericks.
Oh, Frederick.
Come on.
Okay, I was like,
You're
you know
putting me
Frederick.
on. You were putting me on. I was pretty sure that you were from Houston, Texas just now. But if you don't know Fredericks. This isn't a
I thought
scam,
you said,
isn't
you
it?
know Frederick.
Is this
I
a
was
s-
like,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Are you telling me the truth?
Yes, definitely. Why would I be lying?
I don't
I
know.
have no intention.
You have no
I
intention?
have no intention to. No intention to lie to you. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Nothing.
What is the name of your company?
Like I said, it's literally just called the Group Plan.
Wait, you
Pharmacy.
guess? Wait a minute, Kevin. You guess that your company is called that?
No. I said it's literally called
Oh,
the Group Plan Pharmacy. That's what I said.
the Group Plan Pharmacy. And how long has
That
it
is
been
correct.
established?
It's been established for I think 2 years now, but I've only started working here since I think it's all.
Do you like
been,
boxing?
half a year.
I love boxing.
You know.
You ever go?
Okay.
You ever go to a boxing match?
Not really. No, it's not really in my interest, to be honest.
What do you like to do, Kevin?
My name's not Kevin. It's actually Josh. But I'm honestly thinking I do have to move on to the next
No,
call.
no,
before
no,
my
no.
No, trust
Kevin.
me. My manager will actually
Wait,
yell at me if
can I talk to your manager?
Actually, I'm working from home, so I'm not sure if I can transfer you over. But if you'd like, I can. Her name is Sierra. If you'd like, I can, save your number and she can give you a call back if you ever have
know.
any questions.
You know what, Kevin? I'm really lonely right now, and I need a friend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I would like you to be my friend.
I mean, I wish, but we live so far away. I know you're in New York, and I'm like.
I've got
all
a
the way
surprise
to-
for you,
like,
Kevin. I live in
Oh,
Houston
really?
also. I'm in Houston
You
right
do?
now. It's humid right now, isn't it? It's so humid out. I saw a concert in Houston recently. Do you like concerts?
A concert? No, not with the COVID.
Do you want to hang out with us? You sound pretty cool.
To a concert. To a concert.
Yeah. I actually have I was gonna offer you a life insurance plan too. I don't know which one you're using, but the
I'm
one.
not even calling you about life insurance.
Wait, what are you calling me about? Because
Health insurance.
that's what I said.
No, you said life insurance.
No, I said rock concert, Houston.
Oh, rock. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think those are happening right now.
Listen, Kevin. I have a hard time believing that this is real.
I mean, that's your opinion, honestly. I mean, you have your First Amendment.
I want to.
Your opinion.
I do have my First Amendment. I also have my Second Amendment. You know what the Third Amendment is? I forget what the third. The Third Amendment is you cannot quarter soldiers in your house. Talking about,
What the hell?
yeah. I was watching.
That's
Did you see the? Oh my God! Did you see the latest Eric Andre special? It was so funny. He was like, I'm trying to get in this house. I'm a soldier.
Is that to let me in?
Yeah. No, not let me in. That's a horror movie.
No, like the meme for Eric Andre where he just is yelling, "Let me in."
I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on. You do know. Literally Google it. Let me in, Eric Andre.
Oh, let me
Come
see
on.
this. Let me in. I think if this is funny, let me check this out. What'd you have for lunch today? Let me in's a movie.
Dude, if one of my managers listens to the call that we're having right now,
They're gonna have a
They
good
would
time and
kill
laugh
me.
like us. We're all laughing. We're having a good time. Oh, let me in. Oh, I know this one. Eric Andre, he's crazy, man. He's nuts. That guy's out of his
Yeah.
mind.
Listen, it was great talking to you, but I do unfortunately have to let you go before I actually get fired.
You're not
Last
gonna get
time someone
fired.
spoke to-
You can't get fired from a
No,
scam
no.
business. You own the business. You know you own it. Come on now. Come on, Johnny.
I know.
Freddie, Bobby, Kevin. I don't know which name is today or right now.
Josh,
But
and I do. I mean, I'm not gonna. Whatever I say to you, you're just gonna assume that I'm scamming people. But I do promise I'm not scamming. If anything,
everybody's trying to get a buck.
maybe I'm telemarketing.
Okay, everyone's trying to get a buck right now. I get it. You're working from home. There's a coronavirus going around. People can't go out. Everybody's got to figure out what to do. That's what I'm doing too.
Yeah, but if I was doing anything, I wouldn't be scamming people. Do I sound like someone who would scam people?
You sound like a very friendly Kevin. You sound like a very friendly guy.
I'm not a Kevin. I'm Josh.
You sound like you made me laugh. I went and Googled Eric Andre gifts. I'm laughing now. This is a good. I think this is the start of a beautiful friendship. I think we can be friends.
I think so too, but unfortunately, my company is never gonna let this happen. It's a discrimination, but it is what it is.
Discrimination?
I know, right?
I don't think this is the kind of discrimination we should be worried about. People just trying to get along. What is that?
Exactly. I know, right? It doesn't exist. Welcome to America.
Do you want to be my co-host?
Dude, I swear to God, I need to go.
I think you could be my sidekick.
I wish I could talk to you all day, but honestly, I can't.
We could talk all day.
I do really need to.
No, I'm serious, Josh. We can hang out. Let's just hang out here.
Like I said, I'm in Houston, Texas. You're probably in like Uniondale or something. I have an address here. I don't think it's even you. You're Elmo, like you said, but I'm trying to reach Elma.
You know what,
And Elma's not available.
Elma has not been available ever. But I keep getting calls almost every day asking for Elma. And she has not ever been available. She's never been available. You guys will never catch Elma on this line.
No,
Because this is my personal line, and my name is Elmo. You got it wrong.
I'm checking the call logs, and honestly, from our company, we've only called you about 2 times.
200 times. I get a text asking for Elma
No.
almost every day, going, "Hey Elma, we got a deal for you, Elma." Who is Elma? I would like to meet Elma and give her all of this information.
I think some other companies are calling you. That's why maybe you're assuming I'm a scam. Maybe some Indian guy has called you with an Indian accent, and they were like,
"Don't be racist."
Hey, No, okay. I mean, let's be real though. That's a thing. I mean, not to be racist or anything, but
wait, time out. When someone says not to be racist or anything, they're about to say something racist.
No, that's a Vine reference.
Not to be what? I know it's a. Yeah, they're like, "Hey God, he's about to say something racist." Go ahead.
No, it's the other Vine reference where the girl goes, not to be racist or anything, but Asian people, and then you should watch that Vine. It's a funny one. It's a good one.
I have a legit question. Are you calling me from
Go ahead.
Houston, the Philippines?
Why do you assume I'm overseas? Do I have an accent?
You have a little bit of an accent.
Be honest.
You have a little bit of an
I
accent.
do have it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm originally I wasn't born in the U.S.
Where were you born? No, this is none of my business. You don't have to answer this question.
No.
I am curious.
I was born in Armenia. Do you know where that is? Armenia.
Armenia.
The Kardashians.
Yes, I live next to Glendale. Of course I know Armenia.
You live you're in California.
No, Glendale, Houston.
Good one.
Thank you.
Is that an actual place? I don't know. In any case, I do have to go before they kill me.
No. Who's going to kill you? Oh my God, this is taking a turn. Kevin, I don't want you to die. Hang on. I can get you out of there. All right. First, I left a key. I put a file inside of a cake, and it's going to be delivered at 5 o'clock today. Okay? I can get you out of this. It sounds like indentured servitude to me. What's going on with you? Josh, what's going on with you?
My manager will yell at me. I do have to go.
I will yell at your manager. Get your manager on the phone. I'm going to talk to your manager. I'm going to say you're a fine young man or woman or non-binary person, I don't know, from Armenia.
Because I have a low-sounding voice doesn't mean I'm non-binary. I'm a guy, okay?
That's fair. I'm not making any assumptions is what I'm saying.
Okay, great.
I
Thank
accept
I
you,
just wanna say-
Josh.
Thank you. I
Do you need
appreciate
help?
that.
Do you need help
not
out of there?
really, no.
Are you sure?
No.
I could help you.
No. I mean, I've been having a rough day at work. We just haven't been having a lot
Yeah.
of, good calls and everything.
Right.
So it's fine, though. It's fine. I'll
sorry
get
about
by.
that.
No, you're completely fine. It's not your fault. This was probably the highlight of my day,
Oh.
or probably the month. So that's nice. But like I said, I do have to actually, unfortunately, move on, though. Before I move on, though, I just want to make sure to ask you: do you happen to have a private insurance plan yourself?
I see that we're on message. I see that we haven't lost the thread, Josh.
I'm sorry about. It's just so if they by any chance happen to hear the call, I just want to make sure that I'm at least trying to, do my job. So
Yes,
they won't be like,
Josh,
"Oh,
play
you're-"
along. Yes, I am interested in insurance. Blink twice
No, I'm not.
if
I'm
you
not
need
trying to
help.
sell you any insurance. I'm
Josh,
not trying to sell you any
I
insurance.
know,
I'm
Josh.
just
It's
calling-
it's okay. It's okay. I'm winking at you, okay? I'm gonna deliver
yeah.
a file. It's gonna be baked inside of a cake. You can get out. I promise. I can get you out.
Okay.
We're gonna come and get
Can
you.
you put a green card in there as well?
I could put a green. We could get you citizenship exonerated. We could get you. You could be, a refugee. We're gonna save you from this situation. You're indentured servitude. This cannot go on. This cannot stand, Josh.
Dude,
I think.
just want to say you're great. You're really great. I do appreciate you going going with everything, but I do really, really, really have to go now.
I'm gonna
I
start a
do apologize.
Kickstarter for you.
Thank you
Freedom
oh
for
my God,
Josh.
Can you please?
Freedom for Josh, everybody. Freedom for Josh.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Can you
I do really
take
appreciate it.
Elma and Elmo off your list?
I can definitely take Elmo and slash Elma slash whatever it is off the list. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm Elmo and I just got new shoes.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I just want to say that if I take you off the list, we'll never have the pleasure of speaking to each other again. But I'm sure one of my colleagues will definitely call you if I don't take you off the list. But since you asked very nicely and we've gotten along, I will make sure to take you off the calling list.
We're gonna free you,
Okay.
Josh. We're gonna be knocking at the door.
That is,
We're gonna call a
thank you
SWAT
so
team.
much for- Thank you.
It's okay.
I just want to say though, by the way, if I put you on the do not call list, I will put you on the do not call list. But I just want to say that there might be other companies that are calling you, and that is why you told me that you're receiving these calls.
Yeah, can you take me off their
usually-
lists too?
No, I literally can't. I'm not in control of those companies.
Well,
But
Josh,
I think
your
they
freedom
will-
is gonna come at a cost. If I free you, you're gonna have to go around telling them to take Elma off their lists.
Okay.
Quid pro quo, Josh.
Okay. I will
Listen,
find
I'm
a way,
not
okay, I promise.
I'm not a beneficent figure. I want payment for my services.
Do you have a Snapchat or anything?
No, why would you ask that?
No, I'm just just asking, it's about work. Like, if you have a Snapchat so you can send me your insurance details, like the insurance card.
You have to look under Elma. I can't give you any more information than that, Josh. I'm not silly. I appreciate your inquisitiveness. However, we're all having a great time with this right now. You have been the highlight of our day. How about that?
Oh, it's there's other people around you?
Elma and Elmo, both of us.
Oh, right. Would you mind asking them if they would happen to have any private health insurance at the moment?
Y'all have
They're
private health insurance. Josh's gonna hook you up. Anybody? No, Josh, they don't want spam phone calls any more than I do. So I don't know what to tell you, man. I just got to tell you, take me off your list. I feel bad, but I also don't. So if we could,
I promise you, I will take you off the list. Okay, it's not going to be a problem.
alrighty. Thank you so much,
All right,
Josh.
Thank you so much.
Now
You
I've got
too,
to end
so
the
have
show.
A good rest of your day.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah, have a good rest of your day. By the way, you really did make my day. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
That's what we're
Take
here
care.
for. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And I was hoping that would happen. Josh, what a good guy. I think we really connected. And thank you guys for joining me. Those are fun. I've been getting like 3 calls a day from asking for Elma, and I was hoping they would call during the show, and they did, without fail. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate you all. You are fantastic. I hope you had fun with me and Josh, my sidekick, my new sidekick. We're gonna free him from his indentured servitude. But see you tomorrow at noon. Bye, guys. Here we do. We're gonna play this one. Trying to look for a nice happy song to go out on. I don't even know. How about this one? All right, bye guys.